Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Railfan TV. I am JD, and I'm joined, as ever, by Matt. I can't remember a stream where I haven't been with you, Matt, so welcome.
welcome. Yeah, thank you. It's great. It's good fun, as always.
Good fun, as ever. So we are, of course, going to be driving tonight the Tharandter Rampe route, and I love saying that. It's one of my favourite routes that we've had to say. So I will be saying it many times over the course of the stream. But we will be taking a spin on this new route that's been released today. It should be available for everybody. I will come on to PS5 in a second. If you're a PS5 user and haven't been able to get in, we are working on it. Apologies. Yeah, it should be available for everybody now, really, to play and hopefully enjoy. So, Matt, what are we going to be doing tonight to kind of showcase the route?
So we're going to have a run from Chemnitz to Dresden during the summer sun, so we can have a look at the scenery, and we'll do that as an entire run from one end to the other. And then we're going to do the beginning of that run again, not the whole thing by any stretch of the imagination, but the beginning of that run again, and we'll do it in January, so it's in the dark. And this time, I'm going to put the right lights on. So
I was going to say, you managed to work out how to get the headlights on.
I've managed to turn the right headlights on. We were on low beam last time. There is a high beam, and that looks rather good actually. So
we'll be less kind of like sort of standing around going like that in the darkness. You will be actually able to see something.
Yeah, it's so anyway. We'll so we've got so we'll do a bit with that. Then we can have a quick look at the 185 and do a little drive out of Dresden in the night with that, and then we'll do a quick look with the cab car. And run on S3 service. So I'm going to start with an RE3 service tonight, which is one of the new ones. So one of the things that came up in the stream last time was the number of services that the 610, the 612 can do. So you'll notice that it's now 22. Now I think there was a couple of issues with this deploying on consoles incorrectly. It did it without the update, and then the update came down. So you should be seeing 22 there. And similarly, you can use the livery selector to switch to the double unit. And if you do that, there are a further 14 services, which is essentially where all the RE3 stuff lies. So let me change this to July. A little bit of cloud, a little bit of wind.
That's wonderful. A couple of people were asking about they downloaded the route and then they had a secondary update that came a little bit later on during the day. That was for the services. There is another, I think, a patch going live next week on consoles. You might have seen West Somerset Railway currently has a rail pool icon on it. That will be changed in an update next week for consoles. You shouldn't see that on Steam or PC.
Right, so we're in the cab of this thing. I've turned the cameras off now so that we're out of the way. Right, let's get this thing fired up. So I'm going to put the reverser in and forward.
Yes, let's do a little bit of an intro, shall we? Let's do how to set up the loco, because I know that there were a couple of questions about that last week.
Yes. So reverses in and forwards. You want to put the brake key in and move it on. You can hear the brakes just activated. Now I'm just going to put a bit more brake on here just to hold us at this point. Right, now I need to get the tilt system enabled, which is GST. Complex German word with many letters. Now we've turned that on, what will happen is it'll do a tilt test, so you can see the train just tilted over. And if I switch out to the outside, you can see the train leaning over like that, and you'll see it lean back again in a minute. There you go. So you
it's like it's like like the old flight simulators you used to get in arcades.
Yeah.
We used to sort of stand from the outside and just watch the kind of the thing rotate around. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very cool. So that's done the tilt system test. We'll get the lights on. I'm just going to put them on normal brightness. This is the switch. You've got brights and normal and reduced, and you can see even in the daylight here that the difference between normal and brights is quite substantial. So now we've got that done, let's get the door open, which is this, and release, or you can use the Y key or D-pad left, whatever is your preference. While that happens, we will take a wander, because all the safety systems are in a cabinet down here. And we need to turn this one, and this one. This one is GNT. GNT is the safety system related to tilting trains. It allows them to go faster than the speed limit, which has an interesting wrinkle related to this right hand screen. We'll explain when we get there. Okay, so
would you like me to do GNT? Would you like me to do the
come
what it
on
stands
in.
for?
Yeah,
I've been waiting for this all day. Geschwindigkeitsüberwachung Negatechnik.
Without the R in the middle, yeah. I imagine.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
That's very good. Certainly a lot better than I could do. Right, so doors are closed, lights are on, reverse is in. Let me also check. I'm going to do the power on. So what that does is enables the power to the torque converters and fluid couplings. Put the desk light on. Actually, I'm going to turn it off. We don't need it during the day. But let's give the passengers a better light, which is that switch, and we're ready to go. So now brakes off with a semicolon key, and we'll put it in forward. So you can see the pink bar over here going up, and and that's with it in this position. If I put it back into the AB position, you'll see it goes back down again. If you've driven the G6, it's the same throttle control system as the G6. It's really easy to get used to. It's just not quite what you've been used to in the past. So just hold it in full forward, and it will increase the throttle as you go. Now I've got PZB enabled. We've switched into start program. You can see the lights flashing, but I can come out. No reason to stay in start program. That means we are now permitted up to the full line speed of 80 kilometers an hour. So you can hear the throttle winding up there. Niederweiser is our first stop in 7 kilometers.
Nice. And one of the questions from last week, which I'm sure somebody answered for me, and now I cannot find it, is what that X is for in the on the left-hand side of the or the sort of centre left. I mean, I think the answer was for us to hold things like a clipboard or something like that, or a mobile phone or something along those lines. But somebody, I'm sure someone can clarify in the chat. But somebody did tag me in it, and I cannot remember for the life of me, and I apologise. Yeah, if you've used the G6 before, the controls are very similar, and the way to kind of use or drive the train feels very well. It doesn't feel very similar actually. It drives very similarly, but with the tilt, this is kind of a very new experience for TSW2.
Yeah, definitely. And this route is pretty different in a lot of cases, but in the gradients change frequently, the speed limits change frequently, and that's exacerbated with the GNT system turned on because you can go faster. Now this is actually just enabled. GNT is just enabled, so the lights for GNT, you can see in the HUD, the UGNT light has come on. So while I'm now accelerating, you can see over on the right hand side here, it's telling me that my current speed limit is 110 kilometers an hour. And the speed sign that you would have got on the road here was probably a 9 or something like, maybe a 10. Certainly wasn't an 11. So when you've got GNT turned on, you're going to get a different set of speed limits, and it's all explained on the right hand side, the right hand MFD there. So keep an eye on those if you want to run HUD free. If you've got the HUD on, this is all the correct information for GNT turned up over here. And you'll find that if you drive with the BR143, for example, those speeds will be different. You'll get the normal line speeds as opposed to the enhanced line speeds.
Yeah, and that's kind of our substitute for an Ebola system, isn't it? In this particular local.
Yeah, we don't have Ebola. Normally, the information that you need for this would be part of the information displayed on the Ebola, which is like a timetable. It shows you all the track details coming up ahead of you. But as we don't have an Ebola system, you can see the tilt really taking effect now. As we don't have an Ebola system yet, it's something we do want to do at some point. But you can't drive without the information, without the HUD. And we know a lot of people, including myself, like to drive without the HUD. Therefore, putting that information there allows you to keep driving without the HUD and take advantage of it.
You can see the tilt there as we were going around that corner, and the reason why that exists is so that you can go quicker around those corners because of the tilt.
Yeah, it means that you get better passenger comfort for going around these corners a bit faster than normal.
Yeah, absolutely. And Senor Snore asks, does the HUD also account for whether GNT is on or off?
No. So there was a lot of complexity involved in that. It was something that we tried to do, and it's something. So there's a bunch of rework needed to do that. So it's something the team are going to bear in mind. So it will take into account basically of whether the train is capable of GNT. So if you're driving the 612, it's flagged as a GNT train, and therefore it'll get the enhanced speed limits. If you drive the BR143 or the cab car or 185 even, then it's not a GNT enabled train, and it will get the lower speed limits, but it's not able to hook into the settings of the train, certainly with the way things are at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I imagine with Rail Driver, this is sorry, not Rail Driver. Oh, my brain's got completely dead. Track IR. This would be quite an experience.
Yes, I must admit I've not tried it. My Track IR is in the drawer at the moment because the wires were getting in the way. Yes, it would be. I imagine that'd be quite good because it would take into you'd see the tilt the same way you're seeing it now and be able to look around as well. So it does present a good experience. So that was a 10. Sorry, that was just a warning of a 10 speed limit came up, but actually, this you can see from the HUD, it's at 120, and that's again because we're running in the enhanced speeds. So you see GGNT just lit up. That's 200 meters before the deceleration speed curve. It'll now start flashing, which means we're on the speed curve. And now that we're on, once we get down to it, it'll then stop flashing. There you go. So we're at the end of the speed curve now. We're fine. Now we've got 100. Again, that was a 9, not a 10. So just got to keep an eye out when you're using GNT. You really want to be paying attention to this or the HUD, the actual speed indicators on the. Oh, hang on, we're stopping it.
Huh. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I don't think we are stopping here, are we? I can't wait for what the chat say. We're on a little bit of a delay here, but we'll see what the chat say. Yeah, I think that's going to be a hallmark of. I mean, it's Exhibit 8 right here. A hallmark of, you can't really take your eyes off of it, really, or you can't really lose your concentration on a route like this because it will punish you. It's one of those things where it is pretty intensive when you're looking, whether it's gradients, whether it's corners, whether it's random stations appearing out of nowhere, as Matt's just experienced. You're going to find that you want to concentrate through it. Just a couple of quick questions whilst Matt tries to reverse back into the station. Does GNT work on other routes from Ensor? I do not believe. I think the 612 is the only loco that we have that currently uses it, and it's not available on other routes. As it stands.
Yeah, we've only just built GNT, so it doesn't exist on any of the other routes.
No. Simon G asks, is this train running now, or is it a historical route?
So the 612 is a current train, but not on this route.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I was trying to think of how to say that. But yeah,
the 612s exist, and they run, but they don't run on here. They were the route and the timetable, everything is kind of meant to be around the 2012 period, but there are some imperfections with that. Chemnitz is more closely modelled to current day. Dresden is more closely modelled to 2012, and the timetable is based around more closely the 2012 time kind of schedule. So it's kind of that. There's a little bit of anachronism there. Similarly, the rail pool is more representative of a more modern experience. Can't go past this signal or we'll be in trouble.
Oh dear, lovely. Well stopped, Matt. That was good quality
Perfect.
Driving.
Absolutely brilliant quality driving.
Yeah, I said I'd talk about PlayStation 5 just quickly. So yeah, we are aware of a few players who currently aren't able to download the game within PlayStation 5 after buying it. Obviously, that's not good. We think we are hypothesizing here because we are in contact with Sony. We've tried everything that we can think of that might have impacted this, and we've not been able to come to any conclusions about it as of yet. We've been in contact with Sony, and they tweaked something a little bit earlier, and we think everybody who tried to download the game prior to that tweak still isn't able to play. However, people who have tried to download after that tweak seem to be able to play. So if you're in that small group of people who tried to download this morning, probably between about 10 a.m, 1 p.m. UK time, we're in contact with Sony. We're trying to work out from them what is going on because we're not really sure, and we think it's something within Sony's system because it seems like their tweak managed to save it, but we're trying to work out what to do for everybody else who obviously tried to download it prior to that tweak, and when we've got more information for you, we will post it out on the forums, and we'll try and keep you in the loop as much as we can.
Someone was asking earlier on why I was in 1000 hertz mode there, and it's because of reversing. It's a standard thing that it puts you in 1000 hertz restriction when you're reversing. Purely because I was reversing, not because of a magnet or anything like that. It's just because you're reversing. It's the train basically just reminding you did a bad thing. You don't think anyone noticed, did he? Saved. Right, Floha, that'll be the next station that we're missing.
Oh, last week somebody did tell us how to pronounce. I think it's
Fleur.
Fleur. So we'll try and again. This is classic. Matt and JD speak German and probably anger most of the German population. But we try our best. We have fun, and you guys can shout at us if you like in the comments. Okay, so should we? How long have we got to Fleur? Let's. I think we're probably bearing in mind what happened at the last station. We'll do the map when we're stopped.
Yeah, please.
That seems like a sensible option. We'll do the map. Can we show the horn, please?
Yeah.
That's a when we are done with the horn, because I can't hear you, but
Lots of horn action.
Lots of horn action, brilliant, and it's worth giving a shout out to Mike Goltz, who helped out with the audio. He put together the audio, the physics, and the setup for the loco. He's done a great job with that. I think he helped with some of the signalling as well.
Lucas did the signalling, as well as doing the track. Yeah,
brilliant, and so those guys deserve a really big pat on the back for I think what's a really stellar job with this particular route and loco.
Yeah, completely agree. Lucas did the track and signalling on Dresden Riesa, so give you an idea.
Yes, so we're in good company. We are in good company. Again, maybe when we get into the station, Matt, it's worth revisiting your list from Joe about substitutions and the layering, just so that, again, because I think there are obviously quite a lot of questions, particularly with German routes, about what goes where and what can sub in for what. So when we stop at the station and we are safely stationary, then we'll take a look at the map and we'll go over and reiterate what those substitutions layerings look like.
I'm just coming into Fleur now.
Apparently we needed more phlegm. That was the feedback. No.
So the 204 isn't showing up at the moment because it needs a loco update. When Rivet originally set up the loco, it didn't get any substitution tags, so we've enabled the tags, and there needs to be an update delivered for that one, so that will come soon. I don't know when, but when it does, it will appear probably in a few places, to be honest, now it's been set up.
Yeah, Senor Snob, we will talk about the 185 rail pool a little bit later on.
Right, so this is the route. Let me start at Dresden, because you all know Dresden from Dresden Riesa route. So this is Dresden Station. Previously, this was here, and there were a couple of services that went in and out of particularly this part of the yard. But most of the driving would have been going up here through Neustadt and the like before turning left. So this is the route you're familiar with. So this is how much of it is included on here, essentially. But this is for AI traffic and the like. And then this route then heads down here, and on the Dresden Riesa route, it sort of got to about here and stopped. So now you're able to drive all the way down via various things. This is where the narrow gauge and the narrow gauge coaches are here. As you can see, it's a very, very windy route, which should be it's exciting for the tilt system to call it winds. And you're going up and up and up and down all over the place. One of the features where I can't remember where it is, it's in this sort of general area, which takes you from Tyrant to Klingenberg, is the Tharandter Ramp, which is the steep gradient going up to about 2.5%, which is up from Dresden down to Dresden, yeah, that's kind of a key rail infrastructure feature on the line that will certainly it keeps you on your toes. Certainly going up the hill, the 612, you're full throttle to maintain speed, which is quite fun. I like that sort of thing. Let's release the brakes. Get going.
Nice one. 7k to Erdogan.
Lydar.
That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Erdogan. Erdogan on Tharandter Rampe. Okay, let me just see if I can. There we go. Sorry, I'm trying to, whilst I'm live streaming, not that I don't love you all, but I'm trying to help with the PS5 issue at the same time. So I am, if I am otherwise engaged, it's because I'm frantically trying to type something to something that's trying to help me out with something. So I will do my best. Okay, so one of the things that I think was really positively mentioned last time was the scenery of this route, and obviously we'll come on to day-night lighting, or sorry, the night lighting in particular in a second when we do the night run. But in terms of the scenery itself, I think we've done, like, I mean, not to pat oneself on the back, but I think we've done a really good job with the scenery. How do we go about?
The scenery has turned out. I mean, it's the team have spent a lot of time improving some of the ways that we lay scenery compared to previous. And again, we try and improve with each route that we're there is actually just a lot of really interesting scenery on this route, which just makes it actually more interesting and more easy, because as you know, it varies quite a lot throughout the journey, so it's quite fun.
Yeah, and as I say, it seemed like a lot of people were I mean, this definitely feels more countryside, more provincial than, say, the Dresden route, which is definitely kind of more industrial feeling, a bit more kind of city-like.
That's more city and commuter and that kind of thing, yeah. Whereas this is through the wilds and the countryside, much more, yeah. One of the reasons we quite liked it was the sort of, they both start at Dresden, but you've got this really stark contrast between the two, which is really interesting. This route is also really good for like heritage runs and all sorts of. So it feels like we could have some variety, some fun with it in the future, and try doing some other stuff just because the scenery is so pretty in this area.
Yeah, Mr. Weird Fox says it feels really hugged by trees. I like the way that's phrased actually. Let's get some more tree hugging going. Yeah, so, and Senor sort of suggests it's a little bit like the difference between Rhine Nord and Rhine Rosten. Oh, Matt, quickly, are you able to get your FPS counter up? Just so that players can see, or everyone watching can see what the FPS is. There we go. That's a good shot, that one. Pegasus has asked, how do you activate the tilting? I don't see the train moving sideways when loading mode. If you open the doors, self-test won't work, because imagine if in the reality, if you were trying to get on a train where it was waggling up and down, it'd be quite unsafe. So if you want to see the self-test in action, then as I did here, turn the cab on with the reverser and the brake switch and so forth, and then do the GST switch before you do anything else. Let the self-test finish, and then get the doors opened and move on and things like that. Do your tilt test first. If you open the doors, then turn GST on, it won't do the self-test. That's exactly as it's supposed to be. I rather over-braked there. Poodling along at 50 kilometers an hour on a 130. Sorry, no, 140. Ashley asked a very good question. Actually, has there been any instances of crashing on consoles during testing?
Early days there was, but I'm not aware of anything still in there. There's been several rounds of optimization and finding a couple of broken assets. So yeah, if you're finding crashes, let us know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more of a speculative question, but yeah, I think generally what happens is when we are trying routes out for the first time and we've not optimised them maybe to a certain extent, there will be elements of that kind of thing, but
oh yeah, that's normal.
Part of the development process is optimising them and making sure that so they are playable on as much as possible. Actually, speaking about that, it's worth talking about 8th gen versus 9th gen consoles. if I'm on a PS4 or a last gen Xbox, what's my experience like in comparison to somebody who has a PS5 or a Series X?
So the number of playable services is virtually identical. There might be 2 or 3 different, I think, because there's a couple of playable services that come from the Talent 2, but only a couple. Then the rest of it is all stuff that comes in with it. So those are all just as playable as the Gen 9 PC timetables. Where the timetable differs is the AI around Dresden, because Dresden has been set up in the timetable to be really epically busy, using all of the trains from Dresden, Riesa, and a couple of other places, in fact. So I think the difference is like 200 services to 1,000 services, including the AI stuff that's taken out. But as I said, that's with the exception of a couple, none of that is playable. So it's just purely a bit of background traffic, and just in the Dresden area, which means that for the minute you turn left out of Dresden, which is 1 minute into the journey, you're on to the sort of this is all the same on all platforms essentially. So it should be no different. Graphics wise, it'll be the usual variation. So Gen 8 is lower def models, lower def materials, in line with the capabilities of those machines. But that's the same as it's always been.
Yeah, absolutely. And it should be worth noting we're on PC tonight. We did a PS5 run last week. If you're interested to see how it runs on a PS5. Yeah, let's talk. How far are we? Oh, okay. I won't do it again, Matt. I'll save you from so close to a station asking a question which will probably require a bit of mental capacity. But when we get into the station, we'll talk about the layers and the subs.
I put the brakes on when we're going up a hill, so I have massively slowed down, a lot more than I was anticipating.
Actually, so the Gen 8 does not have the AI traffic.
It has some,
AI traffic,
and it has all the AI traffic on the line. On the Chemnitz line, on the line between Dresden and Chemnitz. What you're missing in the way of AI traffic is just that Dresden is not going to have anywhere near as much traffic in it. So it's going to be relatively quiet compared to what it is on the Gen 9. So Gen 9 has got the ICE, it's got all of the regional trains. I can't remember whether or not some of those are in here, so you get something in Dresden, but no, we wanted to make sure that the sort of the core part of the experience from Dresden to Chemnitz is the same on all platforms, because there's no reason why not. It hasn't got the big heavy trains like the ICE and so forth, so it's not really a problem. But then we also wanted to, where we could, beef up Dresden to make it, roll up, dialed up to 11 on the platforms that have the resources to cope with that.
Nice one. This is quite a pretty station. I quite like this station. Udaran. If you do have any, obviously we've talked about GNT and the throttle mechanism, and we might do that again a little bit later on in the stream. If you want a little bit more information about those, we've put a forum thread up on the website, which has some timestamps to last week's stream. We talk a little bit more about them, go into a bit more detail about how to use them and why they're in there. And actually, if you go onto the last week's stream, the timestamps are in the description and on the pinned comment. So there is a little bit of if you do want a little bit more information about it, go there. Someone's asking about the Harlem line. Will we get any more information about it next week? I don't think so. It's not roadmap week, although we probably won't be going to give them more information on the roadmap anyway at this stage, but I don't believe that we'll have any more information next week.
Game's a bit loud at the moment. While I'm outside, I just wanted to give you some audio of the train accelerating. There's one of the transitions just happened. The engine speed has dropped down.
Oh, we didn't do the layers, did we?
No, we didn't.
There's quite a long list as well, and Joe's written it all down, and it's not an easy thing for Matt to just read off the top of his head either. So
I don't know if you just saw the train tilting over there. Watch the train as we come out of this corner. And into this one. goes.
That is so cool. Devones asked the signalling system complex like the other German routes.
It's the standard German route. Yes.
Same, yeah. It's the same.
The signalling is even with the GNT system on, it doesn't change the PZB if you run PZB. The signal aspects still mean the same things as normal signals. Literally, the only thing that changes is, well, there's a couple of things that change when GNT is on, and this does depend on whether GNT is on. One of them is that so there's GPA speed magnets, which you've seen previously on other routes. They're the ones that bang you out to a stop for no apparent reason, and it's because they're checking your speed, and you're decelerating at a rate you feel is comfortable for this drop in front of you, but it's saying no, you should have been going slower by now. So this is where you need to be more aggressive with some of your drops to speed limits. I know I've fallen foul of that a few times, but when you're running with GNT switched on, of course you're running above the speed limits anyway, so actually what happens is that there's another Belize on all of the GPA magnets which says ignore this, it's not right, doesn't apply to you. And that's good. But that's the case. If you drive with GNT switched off, then all the speed magnets will apply to you. So that's one variation. And then obviously with GNT switched on, you've obviously got the enhanced speed limits. Well, actually, if you're driving in the 612, it will always show you the advanced speed limits, as I just explained earlier on. Can GNT be used without other safety systems on the pier? Yes, it's all independently selectable, the same as on other content. There's 3 switches in the cabin which you can operate independently.
The goalkeeper's asked, is Steam new and can you play a Steam route as soon as it comes out? I think we probably will do, won't we, Matt?
I think so.
But we are
I'll
a little
just
while
try and
off
stop
that,
me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Matt will be permanently
Long
glued to the
stream.
screen, I think.
Long stream.
I think we are used to a 4-hour Matt special. I would hazard a guess that that's going to be more than a 4-hour special. Liam's asked, does Simograph need an update for the tilt?
No, I don't think Simograph really and tilt are necessarily affected. It's different physics. Simograph is braking and stopping. I mean, I've checked this later on with the team, but as far as I'm aware, I don't think this train really required any change to Simograph because we've got a fairly solid diesel hydraulic simulation in the game. Where all the components for it. Whereas tilt is more about animation systems, like getting this rod on the side here, this thing, getting that to animate between the bogey and the body so that it stays, connected, was something that needed to be resolved. It's been needed to be resolved for a while, but this was done that now, and yeah, I think it's mostly about animations and on-train systems rather than Simograph.
Cool. In Scenario Planner, can we use this loco with multiple units?
Yes, it comes with 4 setups. You can either have a twin, as in just a single with single 2-car unit. You can have 2 2-car units, 3 2-car units, and 4 2-car units.
So the full house then.
The full house.
Cool. And also worth noting as well that this route comes with rush hour passengers. You might have noticed there's quite a high volume of passengers on the platforms and in the loco itself, on the train itself, so that's because there's rush hour passengers enabled for this route. So the behaviour, the things they're wearing, and the volume are all kind of in line with the rush hour routes. Obviously, apart from London commuter at this stage. Good question from Atomic World. Do we know how many degrees of tilt this train does? Are we talking Leaning Tower of Pisa, or are we talking something that tilts more than the Leaning Tower of Pisa?
No idea.
Okay.
That's something that the team would be able to answer, but I haven't a clue on that one, I'm afraid.
I'd hazard a guess that somewhere between 5 and 10 degrees, possibly. Maybe that feels like actually quite a lot, but there we go. We'll see. I'm sure somebody out there might know. If you want to answer in the chat, please feel free. Someone's put 8% in the chat. So actually, 5 to 10 was not far off, to be fair.
Alright, we're we're going to get a G light up coming up probably in a little while, which is coming up to a 110 drop. Going uphill still at the moment. Till we get to Klingenberg, we're not going to be going downhill, but you'll feel it when you go downhill on this route.
So how many stoppable stations are there on this route, Matt? And I don't think we asked that question last week, actually. I don't think I've really asked you that question. It's not even one that we've prepped. So do you have any...
No idea off the top of my head. I would go to Wikipedia and call up the Dresden Chemnitz route and count the stations, because they'll all be there. I think all the stations get used in one way, shape or form in one circuit, because they don't usually get used, like this service isn't stopping at all stations, but there'll be, usually you'll find like the BR143 services tend to be the ones that stop at all the stations. These things generally run Regional Express, which is stopping occasionally.
Yeah, absolutely. Daleks asked how come we didn't get any German route patches with this release. I think there are some Aachen patches that are currently nearly ready. Well, they're currently in testing. They should be relatively soon. But I'm not sure about anything else, Matt.
Yeah, there is the backlog of stuff with the Preserve collection, and we'll get it out to you as soon as we can. Like I said,
Yeah.
as I said on the Q&A, the roadmap stream, I think it was, or one of the recent streams where I got a grilling. We're trying to see what we can to resolve this problem, because so far we're not resolving this problem, and stuff is still getting held up. So we have got a couple of other ideas, and we're trying to see whether or not we can make them a reality. 19 stations sounds about
19
right.
stations, yeah, 19 stations and 8 degrees of tilt. So thank you, chat. You are educating us as well as everybody else in the chat as well. Patrick has asked, are the 2, 4 and 6 8-car formations randomised, or are they tied to particular services?
So Scenario Planner uses 2, 4, 6 and 8 car, but Scenario Service Mode is only 2 and 4, and it's tied to specific services.
Cool. Oh, and we've got the British Ace in the chat. Hi Joe. It's good to have you on. Thanks very much for helping us out in the last sort of 8 or 9 hours or so, trying to get this PS5 issue sorted. Appreciate it. Londo's asked, are there any services that split or join on this route?
Don't think so.
Okay. Well, we got 600 meters. Okay, I'm going to keep it fixed in my mind that we're going to talk about the the substitutions and the layers in this next stop. So I'm going to talk very slowly and very deliberately, so that I don't start talking about something else. I don't get off of the subject of it, and you could probably listen to me for about the next 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I won't really say very much at all, but that's because I'm trying to keep in my head right now that actually we need to talk about this particular thing when Matt stops, which hopefully will be very, very soon. There we go. Focus.
Really
I'm focusing. I think a special challenge for Matt will be to actually stop at a... there we go, we're only 10 metres off this time. Cool. Okay, let's do this. I'm staying focused. Tell us all, Matt.
I haven't got Joe's document open now, so I can't read it all.
Oh, no.
But there are layers from the... let me just pause this a minute. There are layers from... Dresden Riesa features quite heavily for obvious reasons. The BR101, again in Dresden. The MRCE BR182 features from Hamburg Lübeck, because there's a little sequence been set up where on the BR101, the BR101 and the BR182 swap over. So it changes locos. Again, it doesn't run on this route. It's not drivable. It's AI only, because it drives up the other part of the route which is not on here. What else is there? I can't remember. I think the other BR182 might load into some of the services, but I think the Talent 2 adds a couple of playable services from Dresden Risa. I'll see if I can find this document that he sent me, and I'll load it up in a bit and see if I can remind me. But essentially, the AI predominantly is providing, or the AI only is providing weight to the Dresden area, so that we can beef that up nicely.
Yeah, you can go train spotting there, virtual train spotting.
If you're on PC or Gen 9, where you've got all the layers and you've got the DLC for it, you'll see that the station it's rarely got platform for spare, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we talked about the 204 earlier on in the stream, but it might be worth just reiterating again, Matt, because we've had a couple of people mention it in the chat.
Yeah, so the 204, when it was originally released by Rivet, it had missing tags, which means it will never substitute anywhere. So we looked into that and we fixed that, but it's not been deployed yet. It's in the queue alongside the preservation stuff and the rapid transit problem and so on and so forth. So there's
work to do.
Yes, we need to get that out as soon as we can. Same as we need to get the rapid transit update out, to be honest.
Cool. So we are now en route to Klingenberg Kolmitz. No weird letters there for us to throw us off. Hopefully that one was correct in pronunciation. Good. Blackpool Matt said, evening Matt, JD, and late to the stream because I've been having great fun playing Tharandter Rampe. Well,
nice one, thank you.
Good to have you with us, Matt. And then Peace asked, I'm asked, so will the stutters on the screen ever get looked at? As we're looking through, there's a little bit of an FPS effect at the stutter point that you're looking when you're going through, Matt. Is that something that we're looking at?
It's one of the things that's on the list for as part of the optimization process, because those stutters are generally to do with, like that one there, for example, are generally to do with a process called garbage collection. It's actually not, ironically, it's not loading new data, it's actually getting rid of data, because loading new data can be done really, really easily because it doesn't get in the way of anything, whereas when it wants to get rid of data, it has to kind of offer up to everything. Right, does anyone want anything? Can I get rid of all of these things? And so it's a little bit more of a pain. But there are, there's techniques for either loading less data and having less to wade through, or having the thing be a bit more efficient in how it does it. So it is on the list of things that they're looking at, yeah.
And from somebody who knows nothing about this, Matt, is that something that as you play through the route more becomes less of an issue, or is it something that kind of is a perennial thing on the route?
No, it'll be something which happens occasionally. It's just down to at some point it needs to unload data assets, and at that point there's the potential for a hitch depending on how many data assets it has to sort through and how many it needs to get rid of.
Okay. See, I'm getting educated as well. I don't know any of this stuff, so thanks for your question. We will try and take as many questions. We should have mentioned this at the start of the stream, but obviously we are open to your questions. We are open to your requests. This is kind of, we've obviously said that we're going to be doing a few things in the stream, but if you want to see anything in particular, we've already seen Matt Nebworth, for instance. We can see what we can do, and if you've got any questions, then we are more than happy to try and answer them, and if we can, then wonderful.
A gentle uphill gradient at the moment, and then around Klingenberg area is where we fall off the cliff.
Again, I feel like I missed this in the last stream as well, but we have actually gone up the Tyrant Rampe at this point, haven't we?
No,
we haven't.
We haven't.
Okay.
We'll be going down it because we're heading eastbound, so we're heading to Dresden. So we'll be going down it. Last stream we went up the ramp. This time we're going down the ramp, but that's after Klingenberg. Pete W, yes, I've seen the thread, I've read it, and I've even passed it on to the engineering and tech art team as well to to look against their notes. I mean, some of the settings they're talking about there aren't ones we want to particularly put force down everyone's throats because of the FPS impact, but there's definitely some good insights in there.
And Ashley also asked if I've got an Xbox One. If I were to get an Xbox One X, would my TSW collection transfer over? Yes, it would. It's only if you go away from Xbox or away from Microsoft that you'd have to get it all again. Obviously, the different platforms don't play well with each other. They don't want you to go over to the other place, the dark side. So yeah, as long as you stay on the same tech, then you should be fine. If you do have any problems with it, then just reach out to us as support, and we'll make sure we help.
Yeah.
I feel like I opened up a bit of a Pandora's box asking for any if Moggy's asked if a Class 101 leaves Leeds at 12 o'clock and a Class 37 leaves Manchester at 12:05, where is my ice cream?
I hate it. Sorry, Moggy.
Yeah, I was going to say I think Matt's probably got it somewhere. He's probably put it in the cupboard with all of the safety system switches in it.
Yeah, the ice cream, or the other answer to that is the ice cream is on its way behind a Gronk.
Yeah. Or we gave it to the kids in the, I can't remember what it was called, the Kinder section of the train.
Thingy. Yeah.
Yes. Which we will take a look at a little bit later, actually.
I'll have a wander down the train actually when we get to the next station. Someone remind me.
Yeah. Oh, there's a question that I don't know the answer to related to that question that I just answered, not the ice cream one. How about from Xbox to Microsoft Store on Windows? I want to say yes,
don't know.
but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't think it does actually. I think Xbox to Xbox is fine. And I think I don't know whether the Game Pass for PC or the Xbox Store on PC has the same thing. That's worth it. We should find out actually. That'd be really good to know.
I mean, again, if that is a genuine question that you want to know the answer to, and it's going to mean that you're looking at investing in it or you're looking to spend some money on it, don't do it just yet. Our support team should be able to help if you need them, even if we can't answer right now. Well, they'll know. Just submit a ticket and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. British Ace has compared it to a nice mix of RSN and MSB.
That's
We've heard Rosignor mentioned a couple of times actually so far. Matt, will we see the Gen 9 type settings at Dresden on your PC when we get to Dresden?
Yes, I've got everything on here. So you should see the full Monty.
Nice. We do some virtual train spotting. What kind of tea is Striking was asked, what kind of tea is served on this? I really should mentally filter some of these questions before I actually ask them. What kind of tea do we think we'd serve on this route?
Oolong. Because this route is quite long.
It also, yeah.
Longish anyway.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of another tea-based pun, but it's too late, and we've been working for a long time, and my brain's not working properly. So,
well, the other kind of tea they have on here is Assam, because there's Assam trains that you can drive.
And the dad joke of the stream goes to,
as usual,
Mr. Pedalston. Bad Guy says something else I want to mention. Oh, well, I mean, somebody's doing our marketing for us, but it's got a 10% discount on PlayStation until the 20th. There we go. So if you get it until the 20th, there is a launch discount.
Story of my life, Tim Plays Life.
I would love to know if there is a traditional German tea, though. I mean, if we do have any German train fans watching, what is the traditional German tea, if there is one, or are you not really into your teas? Is that very much a
I don't know about German teas. No. Isn't traditional German tea called coffee?
How long is the typical typically take for a TSW2 DLC to get its Game Pass discount. This one still shows full price. I mean, I would say if it's not got the discount now, it probably won't have the discount. We obviously, when we talk to the different platforms about launches and whatnot, we do request parity across all of the different platforms that we've got, whether it's a launch discount or a pre-order discount or anything like that. We try and make sure that they're leveled up. Obviously, sometimes we do get things, sometimes we don't. By the looks of things, in this case, we haven't been able to get a launch discount for Microsoft, sadly. And we know that there is the Xbox players out there. You guys must be feeling a little bit shortchanged right now. We do everything that we can to try and get into as many different sales and opportunities as possible. Ultimately, we want parity between everybody, and read into that what you will.
Someone's asking a couple of times, actually, I've seen the comment, why is the Rapid Transit Talent 2 showing up? So the way that the substitutes, it's kind of problem with the way the substitution system works is that trains advertise tags and the route advertises the tags it wants, and then if the two match up, it shows the train. I think in this instance, the train has tags which are making it show up in places. Maybe it shouldn't be showing up. I don't know. I'd have to check with Joe if that's intentional or not. I don't think it is intentional.
And LaserJet's asked why there are no LaserJet overshoots. Why is there no achievements for this route? So I think there are, aren't there? There should be achievements on this route. On all platforms.
I know they were looking into an achievement issue on Xbox today, which I believe is now fixed.
Yeah, absolutely. That just took a while to propagate, but that should be done, sorted now. We had confirmation that was ready to go. So.
Train Simulator Driver says there are definitely Steam achievements. There you go. So if you're having problems with achievements not being visible or anything, let us know so we can look into it. But they are supposed to be there. Achievements should be present on routes, as we've said previously.
Yeah, and Nat, who's watching live, has just messaged me to say they should be confirmed it should be fixed on Xbox.
Cool. Oh, they're still hidden. Oh, in that case, I'll jump on later on. Then the person who normally does the unhiding, I won't say use the word unfortunate because it's incredibly the opposite. His child was born the other day, so
brilliant.
Yeah, so he's off work, as you might expect, quite deservedly so.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, well, congratulations! I know exactly who you mean. I don't know if he knows. I don't know if he wants us to mention his name on stream, but congratulations. If you're watching, which of course you're not.
He's probably got better things to do.
I was going to say, yeah, I imagine he's got much better things to be doing.
So, yeah, unfortunately that was all very last minute because of a situation. So we were planning in for his paternity leave, and unfortunately that's happened rather earlier than expected. So we're dealing with it. I can fix the hidden achievements later on. That's easy.
Yeah, but Xbox should be fixed, or Xbox should be not fixed, but Xbox should be there. We had a little bit of a problem this morning with them propagating into the system, but we'll confirm this should be working.
So I'm on the ramp now, 2.4%.
There we go. We are in mining. I think we asked this question last week. I think I remember the answer, but I'm going to test you, Matt. What is the biggest incline on this route?
Isn't it like 2.5?
I think it's 2.6.
Is it 2.6?
I think I remember seeing a 2.6 last week, but I could be wrong.
It's good fun coming down the hill on this. Going down the hill probably more so than up, because going uphill you just put it on full power, but going downhill just you get to practice managing the hydrodynamic brakes with the throttle handle a bit and varying to keep your speed even, which is it's quite fun. It's really quite a fun unit to drive.
Yeah. Sean's asked why doesn't the PS4 have the 182 passenger services? I think we talked about this earlier. It's the difference between Gen 8 and Gen 9.
So Gen 8 has the services that use the stock that comes in the pack only. It doesn't have layers for additional routes, because those layers actually are only delivering AI traffic around the Dresden area. So we wanted, in the interests of robustness and so forth, we didn't want to waste memory for things you barely see. on the route, and make sure that the rest of the route was delivering a good experience on that one. Gen 9 has these extra AI services.
Cool. And Jeffrey's asked another kind of does my stuff transfer over question. Currently on PS4 Pro, trying to get hold of a PS5, will stuff transfer over. All of your routes will transfer over, so you don't have to get them again, don't worry about that. At the moment your progress will not transfer between PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Is there a way, Matt, to be able to save the progress and re-download it again? I can't remember if there's a workaround at the moment.
No, there isn't.
No, okay, but yeah, your progress, unfortunately your progress won't transfer across. We are investigating it. Things like the PS5 add-ons issue is currently higher in our priority listing, but it's something that we're hoping to get to at some point.
Custom Itch asked, will the preservation team finish getting all of the routes set to have the speed limit change at the front of the trains? No, that isn't a thing. Most routes work the way that the game is currently set up. Bakerloo line is different, but most routes are based on the train speed limit is the lowest speed limit at any part of the track under the train, which is what the sim is doing.
Dwerk asked, does the Railpool loco sub into other routes? I assume the Railpool livery.
I don't think so at the moment, because it's added a new Railpool tag, which won't exist on all of the existing routes. So again, that's a relatively easy thing that Preserve Crew can do at some point, as and when they can fit it into their schedule. It's just to make sure that we add that tag in.
Jason's asked an interesting question. Obviously, we are talking about some pretty steep inclines here. 2.7. There we go. 2.7.
There you go.
I was wrong. 2.7. So that's absolutely divine timing there. How do you judge the percentage of the gradients correctly in game compared to them in real life?
Okay, so I am going to answer that with the caveat that I aim not a track layer, and there is a certain wizardry in the way that the track laying team do what they're doing. And the way that drivers do what they're doing that I apparently am no good at. Come on, stop. That wasn't as bad. That was a gnat, that wasn't an Epworth.
We're not stopping at this.
Oh, it's a go via. I even said to myself, that's a go via. That's a go via. You don't have to stop there, and then I did anyway.
I know I'm not an expert, but are we right there?
We all stop at go vias, don't we, folks? How many of us stop at go vias? It doesn't help that the icon is the same as a stop at, but I'm not going to blame the game. I'm just not reading the text.
Chat.
Yeah, I'm going to blame chat. Actually, that's a good idea. Darn you, chat.
And Nat said that, just messaged me, said that was magnificent. So, and this is coming from Nat, who
get you
in the
back.
last 4-up challenge managed to overshoot by a good 200-300 meters.
Right, here we go. Right, sorry, what were we? Oh, gradients.
Yes.
So there's a couple of things. One of them is track plans. Quite often include, if we can get the enough detail on the track diagrams, they include the gradients information. And then it's just a case of putting that in as you're laying the track and applying the gradients. Sometimes it's about spotting heights at various points and just working to deliver the track in there, so it becomes a sort of an approximation. And in this instance, actually, we were able to use something called Lydar Terrain, which is really, really high definition. And so you'll see in the distance, if you look at the terrains, it's not all been hand sculpted. It's all actually Lydar has ridiculously high detail, and it means you can the track bed is almost there, and you can just lay the track on the track bed, which makes life so considerably easier. Hello. He's going to get all sorts of upset at me in a minute.
Oh no!
Here we go. I saved it.
But again, this is what we mean. You can't switch off for a moment with this. You can't go into a 3-minute long monologue about something and just lose yourself in this route. You've got to pay attention.
Really got to pay attention. Yeah, I've got a 60 there, so now I've got to get slowed down. We're under the 85 for PCB, but I'll get upset with me. I need to acknowledge that 60 as well.
While you're doing your merry dance, Matt. Tyrant just said the WSR's got a rail pull tag. Is this a bug? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Good
Fixed.
spot. So this is fixed on Steam and on Epic, but it will be coming in a patch, I believe, next week for consoles.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we're just getting that patch through the process at the moment.
Blackpool Matt said he arrived at Dresden physically tired after a route through the Tharandter Rampe. So that's the kind of stuff you're going to be getting with this route. Lots of winding, twisting route, lots of gradients. It's quite challenging, I think. And
Nat just threw the gauntlet down. Nat just threw the gauntlet down in the chat. I accept that challenge.
Oh, okay. Do you know what? What we should do? We should do a 4-up on this. This would be very entertaining.
Yep.
I think.
Agreed.
And I'm not by any means volunteering myself to do said 4-up challenge.
It's not what I heard. Look at me panic braking.
That's me on every station of every route. Oh yeah, we could do a 2-up challenge. Just Matt versus Nat.
Matt versus Nat.
I can shoutcast that. That would be great. No HUD. Oh god.
No HUD. Yeah, obviously. With all safety systems on. Ooh, Talent 2, look, there you go. That'll be one of the drivable ones. I think actually from what someone was saying earlier on, the Talent 2 subs into some of the stuff that's been set for the RE3 on the 612 from the sound of it. I'm guessing that. We should check really. No, we do. Nat and I are doing it, and then we have Sam doing, humorous commentation throughout the replay of it.
I'll do the humorous commentary as well, and that means that I can exempt myself from actually running it.
No, you play the winner.
Oh yeah, I mean just not on this route. So, you know what? I can't even, because we're on. There we go. So we're at Tharandter, aren't we? At this point.
Freital. Well, yes. Sorry, this is. This probably is Tharandter. Yes, it's Tharandter. Yeah.
Sorry, not Tharandter. It's just Tharandter.
Yeah. Cool. Now we're off to Freital Dublin. Doing it live and not pre-recorded Train Simulator Driver is a challenge, because having one person streaming the game is fine, but how would we capture the other person's screen and do it and stream it? That would be the challenge. We're in the office, you could probably do it with various bits of technical wizardry, but like this, that's a bit difficult. It would be fun though. Try and put each other off. Shenanigans. This is what it's all about. Right, Freital Dublin 3.9, speed limit's just gone up, hammer dropped. Oh, ping me a message, Londo Spark, I'm interested to hear what you're doing there. Because in the office I'd just use NDI or something, but I don't know what we do remote like this. Luna visits someone PC tonight.
God, can you imagine how much carnage a 6-up challenge would be? all-star cast of Jamie, Matt, Nat, Sam, Adam, and Nat. I might have said Nat twice there.
Nat will be playing twice, yes.
Oh god, 6. It'd just be absolute carnage. No one would be able to get a word in edgeways.
That wakes them up.
There we go. Oh, look at that tilt. Is there like is there a sweet spot for the tilt? Is there a particular speed which is appropriate or the best to kind of get that feeling of tilt, or is it just
you need to be going at least 70 kilometers an hour, I think. GNT doesn't apply below 70 kilometers an hour, so I think it's above that you really start to see it working. But then, and I think it is based on the speed that you're going. So the 140, or the faster sections of the route, you'll see it more pronounced, I think.
Oh, we have another contender for the challenge knockout. The 8 up is now being called knockout challenge. DTG Mike, the T-boy, he's come out. I wonder what he'd serve on this train.
Narrow gauge coaches.
I'm betting some oolong. Trains. I think we answered this question earlier. Actually, well, we didn't answer it. Most of the people in the chat
Community
answered
it. We hadn't a clue.
Yeah, well, I mean, I said between 5 and 10, and it was apparently 8 degrees that this tilts. Freitel Deuben. Or Freitel Deuben. Oh, God. Liam's asked if we've seen the inside of the train.
Oh, let's do that this time. We were going to do that at the last station, or one before that, or the one before that.
I think I'm sensing a running theme here that we say we're going to do something when we stop, and then we just completely forget.
There's the inside of the train.
So Chief Longshins asked, can we get an answer why the station stop times are so short? It means that collected
doesn't help that I'm running late, but I mean, I think by and large Joe tried to follow the timetable as much as possible. In reality, the drivers don't get time to run out and put posters up and put the newspapers out and so forth. So it's get going. In my case, it's not helping because I'm running late. So it's basically open the doors, go.
And what we noticed about the Kinderspielecker, the carriage last time, is that the decals on the inside and the outside are both correct. They don't read the other way, and apparently there's some weird technology that will allow that to happen in real life as well. Nathan, on the PS5 front, honestly do not know the answer to the question of when that will be available. At the moment we've got a DevNet ticket logged with Sony to try and understand what the issue is. We've tried a couple of things out. We've asked, we've got a couple of players who are kind of helping us out with some suggested solutions that come through, but at the moment they've not been able to come up with anything that has worked. So we are going to be working with them tonight all the way through tomorrow, just to try and make sure we can get them sorted as quickly as we can. For anybody who is on PS5, that should not affect you if you try and download it now. This is for a group of players who we think between about 10 and maybe 2 o'clock UK time were not able to download the game, or not able to download this route after purchasing it, and then Sony have put a fix, or what we think is a fix, live, and it's not worked for those people who have already tried to download it. We think there might be some kind of dodgy data caching potential issue, but we're not quite sure at this stage. So working with them, We'll give you more updates when we've got them. It's kind of with Sony to a certain extent though, because we're not quite sure what we should be doing to try and get this through. It feels like it's a platform side issue. I think there have been a couple of other games that have had similar problems in the past.
Right, 7 kilometres now to Dresden.
Yeah, I did notice that there were only adults sitting in the kids section as well. Young at heart.
You know, that song stuck in my head, so thanks for that. Right, 110.
I have to admit, last week I was trying to follow the chat so much that I wasn't really actually paying attention to what we were doing on the screen. But now I'm looking at this. When you are tilting, it looks amazing on the actual screen itself. Kind of how this all feels and actually from what I can gather, if you're actually in the train itself as a passenger, you don't really feel the tilt.
No, it's amazing. I mean, I've not been in one of these, but I got the opportunity to ride in the cab of a Pendolino in the Class 390, Euston to Crewe, and it's just epic. And yeah, it's sort of see the world spinning around you, and the tilt is just balanced so perfectly that you can kind of feel the train tilt, do the tilt because of the rotation, but it's such a minor thing, and it just works beautifully. It really is an amazing system.
I'd say German engineering, but obviously the Pendolino isn't German engineering, so...
No, there's different tilt systems out there. I mean, the first time I ever rode on a train that had tilt was in Germany. It was on an ICT or a TD, I can't remember which one, going into Jena from Leipzig. And it was... brakes are on, that's it, I blew it.
Oh no. Oh, we were doing so well.
That's it. Now we've got to get off. Hopefully the brakes will come off before it stops the train. More than 10 kilometers an hour above the GNT speed limit, and it gets all grumpy. But as soon as you get below it, it will release the brakes. However, because it jumps to a full service application, it can take a minute to release the brakes. So you do end up quite a bit lower than the speed limit, and that's basically just a train giving you a virtual slap across the face.
And the chat has pointed out very quickly that I said it was going so well. I mean, it wasn't going well, but it was going. The last 10-15 minutes have been better.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was going when it shouldn't have been, and but normal stuff, to be honest.
Yeah, and actually, I obviously we take the mick a little bit, Matt, but doing this kind of thing while also trying to have a conversation, trying to reach the furthest recesses of your mind when I'm firing questions at you. Actually, I think you're doing a pretty good job.
Well, thank you. I do my best.
Someone's put Nebworth, stop and go via safety stop, bingo approaching.
Yeah, get to Dresden is the one you kind of don't want to overshoot, really. Especially with the trains that run to Chemnitz, because they all use the terminal platforms. And hopefully not the literally terminal platforms.
Yeah. As you can see, it's starting to become a bit more built up, a bit more urban, kind of a far reach away from quite a lot of the rest of the route. Tarolin's asked, what was the biggest challenge in making this route?
So we had to develop the GNT system, which was a fairly major undertaking, and so all the tilt and GNT I think was probably the complexity there. The sort of the largest challenge of that. It was quite a big thing to implement. Did I do the VO on this route? So later, I can't remember anymore which ones I've done the VO for.
So many. And you were saying actually the American lady that does some of the VO on the American routes is your other half.
It is indeed my wife, yeah.
So next time you hear
So
that lady,
Long Island, Boston, the M3, all sorts.
Apparently you did do the VO for this route.
I did do it, okay.
I think See You Later was asking a question that they already knew the answer to, and we didn't know. Jan says, did TSG Mike work together with DTG regarding sounds and physics? Absolutely.
Yeah, we're in close contact with Mike, Lucas, all of that. Working very closely with them all the time.
Yeah, they did a really good job with this. So Mike helped with the setup, the physics and the audio, and Lucas with the track laying and the signalling for the route as well. I mean, we're not too far away from and it is still a pretty steep incline here.
Well, we're actually going down into an underpass now below all of the main lines, which is what will drop us into Dresden Hauptbahnhof, which is pretty much in front of us now. So we're going under the main lines now. So the tracks above us are the ones you would use to get Riesa.
Right. Okay.
There's Dresden.
As you can see, some of the traffic around the station. Look at all of those locos.
Dosto just departing here.
So trains 1803's asked possibility of connecting the routes, I assume in relation to this. Now, this is probably not the best example of, I mean, if it were possible for us to do something like this, because they're set in slightly different time periods, so there wouldn't really be that continuity. But in
there
terms
wouldn't be
of
the continuity, and other than the get off of one train, get on another train, you don't get trains that continuously run across the two routes. So it's not going to. You could join them in technical theory. It's not something we have the tech to do at the minute, but in theory, since they're both in Dresden, but I'm not sure it'd be all that exciting to do so. Whereas what you want is, like, for example, Wuppertal, Brenner Rosten, and Rosig Nord might be a better candidate for joining, because freight trains run the entire line along there, whereas no, it wanted the other doors. Typical. Whereas the passenger trains in that case don't. They all stop at Hagen. So again, from passenger train, you'd be driving to Hagen, stopping and getting the next one and going. So it's not much different. But I guess from an immersion perspective, the ability to drive Chemnitz to Dresden, change trains, and the drive to Riesa would be fun. But no, we don't have any plans to talk about on joining yet.
Yeah, it's almost like you'd be kind of almost like an equilateral triangle, I guess, wouldn't it? Where you've got the three stations.
Yeah. There you go. That's not too terrible. Come on, give me my gold. What's this silver nonsense? I keep getting silvers on this route. Right, 73 metre stops.
I feel like they've been very. I feel like they've been very generous giving you. I think there was one where they gave you like a 2 metre stop accuracy. I think that was the one you ended up overshooting by about 250 metres. But there we go.
Yeah. Right, so what were we going to do? I was going to do the same service but in January, so we can have a quick look at the night lighting before we move on, just as a comparison from last week's stream. So let's look at that. Switch to the double unit. I'll go to it's January, bit to cloud, bit to wind, and run the same service, which is 3457. Silver's the new gold, folks. Silver's the new gold. Right, so startup. I will do the startup again. So if you're struggling to start it up, pay attention, and I'll walk you through what I'm doing and how and why and so forth. So you need to put the reverser in. You need to move the reverser forward. You've now activated the cab. Now we need to get the brakes in, and we need to turn the brake key switch on. So you can hear the brakes just activated. And I'm just going to pop the brakes on just to hold us in position. Now I'm going to turn GST on, and after a moment you should see the train rock and roll. There it goes. So we're now doing the tilt self test. Wait for the tilt self test to finish. Well, while it's doing that, let's get the headlights on, and we'll turn on our brights now so that we can see ahead of us. Let's get train lights on here. Once the tilt self test is finished, turn to the left hand doors and release them. I'll get the doors opening. Over here we've got cab lights off, that's fine. Power needs to be on, that enables the torque converters and fluid couplings, so you get power. And the other thing I'm going to do here is turn the desk light on, so that when we get into the pitch dark we can see what's going on in the desk here. Turn the gauge lights on with this over here, just turn them up a bit so we can see what's going on. It says lock doors, so I'm going to put that to the middle and hit close passenger doors. Before we go any further though, I am going to go down here, and we're going to flick on that one, and that one. Those are the safety systems, CIFA, PZB and GNT. That's back in the cab. So I think we've got the train all turned on, ready to go now. So
it's a good tutorial, Matt, but it's lacking a PowerPoint, I'm afraid.
It needs a PowerPoint, and it needs at least another 2 to 3 hours, to be fair. If it's going to be into a tutorial, it should, you know, you're going to go to the effort of a PowerPoint and a tutorial, then there needs to be hours is the unit of measurement in the length. Right, so we're on our way now, in the well-lit area at the moment of Chemnitz. And we'll go forward. GNT is a safety system which grants you access to higher speed limits that tilting trains can use on the route. So I'm going to release from start program. It's better. Now you can see, we can see a lot up ahead.
Headlights! I've missed you.
And this is what we saw last time. And this is what you see when it's on bright.
And understandably, I think quite a few players are like, what the hell is this? But yes, that is a lot better.
Right, let's pop up the volume and get out of Dodge, or at least Chemnitz, and get moving. So we'll drive this for 5 or 10 minutes, and then we will have a look at the BR185.
So night lighting. Obviously, this is something that I think Rita Dresden kind of took up to the next level, and I think, from what I can gather, there's been a similar level of, maybe not similar level, but a level of dedication and care that's gone into the lighting on this particular route. And I suppose the question that is going to be asked is this going to be the standard by which we're going to set for particularly our own content moving forward?
It's where we want to be, definitely. Each route is different in terms of you know, how you do the lighting and the assets that have been set up. In this case, there's some benefit because of Dresden Riesa, a lot of assets have already been naturally set up, so they can be placed down. So it's a matter of, so one of the things that the team were able to do is with the lighting, with all the you know, the really cool lighting was done by the second party developer Ed Fisk. Who just took it upon himself, to be honest, because he wanted to do that pass over the lights, and did a fantastic job with them, and has sort of shown the team what he did and how he did it and how the assets were set up. They've taken on you know what they are able to as a first pass, saying, right, how is this better? And I think the short answer to that is yes. Absolutely, it is better. I mean, there is always going to be the long-running debate about whether or not night should be dark, or whether night should be moonlit, so you can see more of what's going on. And you know, when you look at some of the posts on the forums, you can see there's a it's a Marmite thing. There are people who think it should be lit, and some people that think it should be dark. I want night to be dark. So one of the things we've got to do is try and figure out how we manage that, and maybe there's a setting in our future somewhere that'll change that, but I don't know. We just need to work out the practicality of that. But listening to you and learning all the time, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in terms of this is likely to be something that we take on for, it's something we'd like to take forward for new routes.
The team are looking at they want to try hard, do better with the lighting, which is what we've achieved here, and try and take that forward into other routes. I'm not going to make promises for things that I don't like, I can't see, but this is the sort of the level. I think what the team have achieved here is really good. They think that as well, and it's how do we keep that momentum going? And the proof will be in the pudding. There's no point me sitting here saying, yeah, we'll definitely do it. Let's get some routes out, and you can see for yourself.
Yeah, and you can see the reflective lighting as well. I think, the reflective signs. So I think one of the things that's probably worth noting in terms of preserved collection or previous routes, it's unlikely at this stage that there will be sort of a big old facelift like something like this, which has obviously had a lot of custom stuff put in there and a lot of things that have been worked on considerably whilst the route's being built. For the stuff that's already out there, there might be an occasion where we go back to it and say, well, maybe there's a bit of touching up here or a bit of touching up there, but I don't imagine there will be wholesale changes at this stage. And Matt, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
No plans. I never say never, but there's no plans. It's one of those things that Adam, is as aware as anybody of the stuff things that everyone's saying they want to see in the routes. But he's got to prioritise with all of the other things that everybody wants, and the fact that there is finite time to do it all in.
Absolutely. Somebody has asked what GNT stands for in the chat. Well, that just means that it's going to be me saying a big long German compound word. This is my favourite part of the stream, obviously, is Geschwindigkeitsüberwachung Negatechnik. There we go. Do you know what? I live not too far away from a big old train line, and I heard a train horn in the background, and I was like, what? I've not heard any audio on this stream thus far. Why am I hearing it now? And obviously it's the train outside and not the train in here.
What kind of train was it, JD?
The type of train that
all want to know now.
The type of train that goes between Peterborough and London, because that's the line that I'm on.
It's probably going to be in a Zoomer then or something.
I think that I've seen a few Zoomers go zooming by, so I wouldn't put it past them. They honk their horns at all hours of the night. People say, how long did you practice that, JD? But there's a reason why I'm saying it. Let's just say that I feel like I've done the time. Now I get the reward.
There you go. That was an Azuma train going to Leeds, says Jason. Now you know.
Oh, is that actually true?
Yes.
Oh, nice one. Well, that's slightly scary. That's kind of Big Brother-esque, really. That we've been able to get that information.
The whole timetable is on realtimetrains.com,
yeah.
so you can just look it up. It's actually really quick and easy. Brilliant site.
I tell you, I'd love to. I follow. Some people might be aware of this person already, but I follow a guy called Francis Bourgeois on.
He's been all the news recently
TikTok.
because he did a train spotting thing with Joe Jonas.
Yes, this morning. Yeah, he showed it this morning. He's also done one with. He's also been on a tube with Thierry Henry, weirdly as well. The famous Arsenal footballer. But yeah, I'd love to go. He sounds like he'd be an ideal person to go train spotting with. And see if we can get a collab going.
Yes, that'd be fun.
I've spoken to him. He's a lovely guy. Really nice guy. Apparently he's been hired by Railtrack now. Oh, that's when we spoke to him. He hadn't been hired by Railtrack, but that's his business, not mine.
We'll do one more stop and then we'll move on.
of course, it has to be Fleur that we're stopping at. It's nice. It's a nice warm lighting, I think.
It is.
Makes you feel quite homely and I would say alive. I think you feel like you could just wander over into the village or the town over there. I don't think that's Fleur, and just sort of going for I'm not going to say a cup of tea, maybe a cup of cocoa or a cup of coffee with a friendly German family. Glühwein, of course, yes, Glühwein, yes, definitely. Given that it's January currently.
Another speed reduction coming up. Put some brakes on there. I don't know if I'll be able to see it, but no, you can't see it, it's too dark. So there was a group of magnets. These things here, the Belize's, if you see a cluster of them together, that's the speed ones. They're the ones that are out to get you. But not when you've got G&T enabled, so hey.
I find it odd that Matt's a better driver in the dark than he is in the day.
We're going to get distracted by all the lovely scenery. And you're not finding the perfect moment to ask me a puzzler as well. You're approaching a station. I've got a good question for you. Yes, thanks.
Yeah. If train X is going at 45 miles an hour and is coming from one direction, and train Y is coming at 95 miles an hour from the other direction, where do they collide? Hopefully never, because they're on different lines. Kurt's asked, when does Horseshoe Curve come out? We don't have a date for you as of yet. We maybe will have more information in the coming weeks. Oh, that's a great idea. Oh, I hadn't even thought of this. So Londo Spark said, when Creators Club is out, can we make scenarios for the 4-Up challenge? Yes.
I'm also up for. I think we should be, playing potentially some of the Creators Club scenarios on these streams and some of the Let's Play streams as well.
Completely agree, but that is a fantastic idea. I'd love to do a player-made scenario.
Set us some tough challenges
for a 4-Up challenge. Oh, that would be the yes. You know what? I'm going to make that happen. I will make that happen. He says with slightly crossed fingers because not quite sure exactly how we're going to make it happen, but that's brilliant. Oh, Leica. That was definitely a year ago. With Creators Club, we have a regular slot on Streamlight Workshop Wednesday. Yeah, I mean we'll definitely have the opportunity to showcase some of the work on streams. Not quite sure if we'll do like a weekly created route, but we'll aim to do something. And we'd love to show the liveries that you guys are working on as well, and show some of our favourites on streams as well. So yeah, absolutely get creating if you've got some stuff in the bank, or you want to try it out, then absolutely go ahead. We'd love to see what you come up with.
January. We'll do this one in the dark as well, but we're running 85032 2 a.m. Why am I running that service? I don't know if I should be running this service. I think I might pick the wrong one. Hang on a minute. Yeah, this is the wrong one. This was the stabling 85032 and I wanted the actual 85032.
Yeah, Henty said we haven't got Creators Club yet. I know you haven't, but there's still stuff that you can prepare and get ready for. So all it takes on launch day is just to upload it and put it in the system. Get
your railfan shots in already. You'll be uploading those already. Get your content ready to go, and then when Creators Club launches, you are but an upload click away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is a good point. Actually, I mean, we'll talk about this when we go into a bit more detail about Creators Club. But yeah, it's worth getting your railfan shots in as well for those particular scenarios that you're making and the locos that you're making, because you're going to need them when you go to upload them.
So we're in the Dresden area now. We're at Dresden Altstadt in this area here. This is Dresden Station down here, and this is the train that's then heading south, and in this case goes to Friedrichstadt. There, we're not going to drive it all the way to Friedrichstadt, but I thought I'd show a bit of Dresden in the dark.
Yeah, absolutely. And oh yeah, worth pointing out because again, this is the second stream that we've had since the roadmap. Creators Club is now going to be part of the core game, so it's absolutely free. We've decoupled it. We've overcome the tech hurdles that we had to kind of decouple it from the expansion pack. And again, there'll be more information on that expansion pack in the next couple of weeks as well.
Ziva.
Shush.
Strike Eagles put what a swimmingly nice loco for the rail pool livery. Okay, you get the best dad joke of the night. I know you wanted that. You've taken Matt's crown.
It's fine. It's deserved. I love the rail pool livery. I think it's great. And as I mentioned last week on the stream, they were a really good partner to work with. They gave us a ton of feedback, and wasn't limited to the logo needs to be bigger or change the colour, which is what you normally would get. This was these levers were too long and needed shortening about a little bit, and this button down here for a horn that isn't even implemented on the real loco, that is it's a button, but it doesn't do anything yet. They wanted the horn in there. This lovely bit of word art that you can't see at the moment. There you go. The word art poster here that everyone enjoys seeing. That was a kind of a key thing they wanted to see in there because it's something that's specific to this train. And then there was some detail stuff up on the roof here with some of these attachments and things, and making sure that those were correct and appropriate for this train as well. So lots and lots of back and forth for Railpool, and I think they're really pleased with what's ended up, and we certainly are. Yeah, they're a fantastic partner to work with. So I'm hoping we see a lot more Railpool in the game.
I mean, the word art is still my highlight, to be honest, but
Put it on rights. 2% gradient here coming out of Dresden.
oh yes, this was the same one that we were doing the other way earlier.
We're nowhere near the ramp, but just coming out of Dresden itself, just down here heading south.
Oh, sorry, yes,
It's just a bit of a bit of a gradient here as we start making our way up. 193, is that the Vectron, Derek?
Ivano Ivan said, very nice route, especially appreciate the metallic screeching noises in the curves on the new DMU. Need more of these noises, makes the game more realistic. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's our aim, obviously, and thanks for the feedback.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, flange squeal is something that, particularly with the units, is quite important. So, trying to put more effort there.
absolutely. And Londo Spark says, "I know it must seem like a pain, but I like when partners are very particular. It shows they care, and the product is always so much better for it."
Yes. I mean, it's absolutely. It's like SNCF, Amtrak. You know, there's there are examples of partners who are very particular, and I would much rather have that. It makes the team's life a bit more difficult because obviously you can't just get anything approved, but in other ways it makes it easier because in all cases they don't just say that's wrong. They'll usually send a photograph or send some thing and say make it look like that. This is what it should look like, and then the team just go, oh, that's easy, right? We can do that. Then we've given us what we need. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, we don't talk about sort of the working with our partners too often, but as I say, when you've got a good example of how it can work, like in the Railpool livery, I think there's a really good. I mean, I assume from a perspective of somebody who doesn't get involved in the development process, really, I think it's a brilliant opportunity for us to have the kind of the most realistic thing that we can do. And obviously, Railpool, it feels like they're a part of this process as well, which is great. And we do, as part of the kind of the licensing agreements we have with a lot of our partners, we provide them with builds, we provide them with things that we think would be appropriate for them to see in terms of how's their logo being used and all of that kind of stuff, and they will give them an amount of time to be able to do that and to be able to send back their feedback. And obviously that part of the process can be a little bit problematic sometimes if there is lots of feedback coming back and there's different feedback coming from the last time, but by and large the relationship and the kind of the end product that we get through working directly with the licensors is a lot better than if we didn't have those relationships.
Yeah, definitely. It does make and not only that, it means that the next time we look at doing a Railpool loco, it'd be really easy to go, up front. And in fact, they've already sent us some interesting reference materials from some of the rest of their fleet as well. So it's we're starting. It's when you're working with a partner who's really engaged in the sim, which SNCF, Amtrak, and Railpool are three very good examples of that. It just makes everyone's life so much better because the team want to create good realistic content as well, and sometimes the reference material's not there and we can't get out to see it, but then when you talk to the operator and they're like, oh yeah, here's a USB stick with 64 gig of stuff. Okay, thank you. Or here's a big OneDrive folder sometimes.
Yeah. How much storage space have you got on your laptop? Well, exactly. There we go. I remember when my second day here, I tried to, because we get given access to all of the TSW and TS routes, and I was trying to download them on Steam, and I needed to buy what is this? This is I think 2 terabyte storage drive, and even then I only just about managed to get all of the content onto that storage drive. So it feels like, as I say, when we get loads and loads and loads of assets and whatnot, it feels like it's probably going to be a similar kind of size.
Let's just we'll do a run by this platform and then we'll call it on this, and we'll just do the last one.
Sorry, Matt. I zoned out then for a second. What was it? It was the we do a sort of shot going past the
do the shot going past this station, and then we'll darn you passengers, taking pictures of trains here, please. Yeah, we'll look at the shot of this train going past here, and then we'll go and have a quick ride with the cab car.
Cool. All the shadows.
It's very moody, isn't it?
Definitely angsty teenager mode.
Right, so let us have a look at what did I put down here? The cab car, which is that one. In January probably. 766 S3 37908. This is Dresden Tyrant service. The EC loco change at Dresden. I can't remember what the spawn-in time is to see that. So if someone knows that, then let me know. Right, let's get the doors open. Which is this one. We will brake key on, put some brakes on, so we don't roll away. Train line power. We've got here train lights. Put the headlights on normal. Instrument lights on, cabin desk light. We shouldn't need to do anything special.
Joe's in the chat as ever.
Hey Joe, you legend!
Changeover is platform 1 and 1014.
We'll do that last then. That's the last thing we'll do. I've just made a note of that. Thank you, Joe.
I'm glad you wrote it down because I was just about to. It means I can just stay still. Joe, we have your document. Well, actually, no, Matt doesn't quite have your document at the moment. But we will get your document out and talk about the layers and the subs at the end.
What cab car is this? It is the this one. Joe, is this intentional or is this just because of the setup on an old train? I have a sneaky suspicion it's the setup of the old train, subbing into the three-car Talent 2s, isn't it?
And now we wait for the response in the chat.
Right, we can look at the doors.
Decent setup time for that one.
Yeah, just substitution being itself. So yeah, it's just down to the setup of the Talent 2, meaning it's probably got a tag which is something suitably generic like Germany, because we didn't really understand the substitution system or the best way to use it the way we do now. Live and learn. Right, we're off. Hope presumably powered by a trusty BR143, yes. Ooh, I love this sound of this thing. Lovely. Right, coming out of Dresden Station now. So you get a real contrast of experience driving the diesel hydraulic versus the old school electric of the BR143 train. And obviously this is only going to get the lower speed limits. There's no GNT on this, there's no tilt on this. So you'll be driving the lower speed limits. So it's quite a different experience compared to the other one.
If you missed the stream, don't worry, you can watch it as a VOD afterwards. We're kind of coming towards the final part of tonight's stream, so if you want to see the whole thing again, you can just do so when we stop. You can go back to the start. Or you can rewind.
Coming up here. He's probably waiting for me to get out of that platform. Yep, here off he goes.
How far do we want to go with this one, Matt?
I was just going to take it to Plough. One stop.
Yeah.
Yep, just one stop.
And then we'll do the
we'll
player
do the
request. And then Joe has sent you the document again, so it's right at the top of your teams.
Thank you, Joe. Trying to think if it's here or elsewhere, but there's a really interesting quirk in the track. There. You see this bend?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's real.
How does that work?
That's real. We couldn't believe it either. But there's a photo. If you get a photograph of this area, it's got that bend in it. And Lucas, who did the track.
Ha! Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's a brilliant little Easter egg. I love that. Oh, that's a great little Easter egg. And just think, if you hadn't watched this stream, you might not know that that existed. The 17th of February 2021 as well, apparently, so...
Oh, the track laying was done on this route quite a long time ago.
Well, that's nearly a year ago now.
Yeah, really. But yes, yeah, he sent me the photograph. Sent me a photograph of it a long time ago. Showed me the photograph, and it's just like, I don't believe that, because you look at it on the game and you're just like, Lucas, could you just not have done a better job of that? That looks a bit ropey, you know. Sends me the photograph, and I'm like, okay, you know, that's what it looks like. I think there might be another one on Dresden Riesa, because there's a point where when Lucas was laying the track, I can't remember where it is on the line exactly, but there's a point where the track bumps, and he put that bump into the track because every single how do you mean same position, Ed? There's a point where on every cab ride the train in the cab ride bounced, and so Lucas reproduced that bounce by just making the track wobble at that point. And again, not a bug, but I don't know if you put a plate on that one.
Okay, that might have overtaken the word art's my favourite thing on the route.
It's only a gentle bump, you know. It's but it's there. Right, there you go. That's Dresden ploughing in the cab car. Just there. Right, so we have got to spawn at Dresden Platform 1 at 10:40 AM.
Yana Dunk asks, are there any donkeys?
I still have forgotten to ask the team to find out if that is the case.
I'd be very disappointed if there is not a donkey.
Likewise.
Yeah, and Tim Tree, that was February 2021 on that plate, and yes, we have been working on this since then.
Not entirely.
Goes into
yeah, track gets laid.
Entirely, no.
Track quite often gets laid, you know, because it's the first thing that's got to go down. So quite often we get, you know, a little bit ahead in terms of the routes that are being built, and this one ended up being built. The track was built. That was ready then to get going, because we already knew we wanted to make this route. So why wait? And Lucas was available to get the track down. So yes.
It's a long process. Long process.
Yeah, it was laid before the Riesa track, yeah. Alright, there we go. We've got a full old station here this time.
Wow.
Let's finish loading textures now. Jeez, get on with it. And I guess I need to go up here. And up here. Or is this the one I'm looking for over there? Oh, it's over there. Wrong end of the platform. Excuse me. Train spotter coming through. Excuse me. Train spotter coming through. So I'm guessing I need to be on this side, Joe? Police trains. That's just too exciting.
Sorry, I've gone quiet again because I'm getting messaged about the PS5 thing. I will be. Don't worry. I'm trying to be. Matt, you're going to have to hold up the ship for a little while, I think, but I'll do my best.
That's fine.
The peers asked, since Dresden Station is shared between more than one DLC, does that mean any updates to come? Any updates that will come to both of them? No, I think we treat them both independently. They're both slightly different in the way that they've been produced and built, and it's not as easy as just sort of cookie cuttering it, I don't think.
I'm Peter, I need to be on platform 1. I'm now on platform 1. Still hyped by seeing lots of trains over there. This is why I go quiet. I'm relishing in trains. Oh look, Tyrant Rampe. When does this happen, Joe?
Yeah, I was going to say, are we going to miss it if we go to the...
Oh, no, we've got green lights coming on here. There he comes. There it comes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Now we wait. So we've got about 2 minutes. Do we want to go quickly through the services and stuff? Have you got that to hand, Matt?
Hang on a second. I just need to flick this over just for a minute, and then flick it back. Oh, right, wrong one. That one. That's better. Sorry, I just want to make sure that something didn't pop up on the screen that I didn't want to pop up on the screen. Just watch this to come in. There he is, Joe. That one's off. What does this one declare itself as? Hamburg Altona. Berlin Sudcruise EC173. So does the changeover happen on this end or the other end? Loco end on the other side. Oh, okay.
You're getting your steps in, Matt. It's good.
Yep, the step count's definitely going up. I'm hearing trains. There's the sound of trains everywhere and I'm loving it. Right, the 101 is already uncoupled and is getting out of the way. Oh, look what's over there. There's a G6 over there. Nice. Write down its number quickly. Right. Yeah, I can do running around stations like this, Jason, all day long. But if I have to run for a real station, then I'll just give up and miss my train.
I can remember many times where I've had to run through King's Cross or St Pancras because when I book the tickets, it's not giving me enough time to transfer, or there's been a delay or something like that. I don't have fond memories in the middle of summer of trying to sprint through to try and make my train to get home on time.
So at one point in one of my previous jobs, I had to go to Australia quite a lot, I think 6 or 7 times in the end. And one of my trips to Australia, Emirates had, because one of the things they pride themselves on is keeping the joint in the layover time in Dubai as short as possible, and they kind of miscalculated a bit, because when the plane arrived being a bit late, I had to run from one end of the Emirates airport, go through all of the immigration and everything else, and then run, and I was being last called.
Did you get name calls? Did you actually get like
I think it might have been. It was just because they knew they had connection. It wasn't just me, because it was everyone connecting from that flight. But it was just like, wow. Oh, here it comes, BR182.
Stopped within an inch of its life there. That was some...
There we go, it's coupled. And you can just wait for it to depart, I assume. That is quite neat. I quite like that job. Right, so let me have a look through here. So layers. So there is, as well as the base layer, obviously, with all the Chemnitz trains, goes at 52. All right, so we'll leave it here while we await. You've got the Dresden AI layer, which is the Talent 2 AI around Dresden plus which is RB31, RE15, RE18, and RE50. Then there's an Intercity AI layer, IC, which is the BR101 AI around Dresden. Then you've got the EC AI layer, which is what we're looking at here, which is the 101 and the 182 around Dresden, AI again. And then the ICE, BR403, which again is AI around Dresden. So these extra layers are all layers around Dresden. All Chemnitz stuff is playable on all platforms. Substitution, all 4 BR143 and Dosto S3 formations each have a 10% chance of becoming a BR442. As the S3 had one in operation in 2012, so you will see Talent 2s on the line. Electric freight locos have been set up to spawn as any other freight loco that currently exists in TSW, so you should see some good variety with all of your other freight trains there. And all of the shunters have been set up to sub, obviously with the exception of the 204 at the moment, but that's a problem that will be updated on the 204 as soon as they update where it goes out. AI S1 run the BR143 by default and have a 100% chance of spawning into the BR182, the red one, if you have that, so it should switch that over. Is that still true, Joe? Unique service patterns, you've got the freight is unique, it's not a freight route, and of course you've got this EC loco swap that's we've just seen here. Setup time for services is 2 minutes, so you've got plenty of time to get each of the trains set up before you go. What services are present on the route? Says everything in the timetable except for the ones run by the BR642, because we haven't got a BR642 and or anything that could sub into it. So that affects the AI at the Chemnitz end, I think, more than anything else. So yeah, we haven't got anything for that, so we haven't put fakery in for that. I think that goes through the relevant bits of Joe's document. Thank you for putting that together, Joe.
Yeah, big shout out to Joe again, who's done a really great job with the with how it all works, how it's all set up, all the services and all the layering and substitutions for this route. He's done a stellar job, as per usual. I can't see any times, Matt, on your screen. I have no idea how long we are.
It's 10:49, so a couple of minutes.
Got a couple of minutes. Okay, cool. So I won't, because I don't want to talk over the point where everybody's waiting for.
How come it's an MRCE loco rather than DB1? Because sometimes the MRCE ones do this job, I think. Remember, MRCE isn't necessarily a freight thing. They're a leaser. Same as Railpool. They're not an operating company. They're a leaser. So they lease trains to companies. So you'll find that your Railpool might be running a DB. If DB, lease a Railpool train, you might see it on a passenger service. I think. I'm sure someone will correct me. Yeah, it's a bit different between the likes of MRC and the Railpool versus DB or VVO, who are actual operators. Okay, the MRC is pretending to be a CD Class 371, so it's a Czech Railways thing. It's a stand-in for. Nearly 51.
Chief Lungshin's asked, can we have a video of how track is laid, real life versus game? We could probably do something about laying the track We've done a couple of more kind of dev-focused live streams in the last year or so. We've done one on how we build stations on Train Simulator, and we've done one about timetabling. If we could find somebody who would be happy to jump on to do something about track laying, I'd love to see what we could do with that. But again, it's dependent on the people who are responsible for doing that within the company, if they're happy to jump onto a live stream and talk about it, and we can get the demo right and all that kind of stuff. Like to do more of that kind of thing, but it's all about making sure that the people who are coming on are happy to do so.
Yes, absolutely. Means they have to give up an evening, which is not necessarily something that everybody wants to do, quite reasonably.
No. Obviously, Joe jumped on one last year as well and did a great job.
Yep. I'll have a chat with our track layers and see whether we either, that basically you can come on the stream and you can show them, or you can teach me how to do it. It's whichever one you find the least painful.
I mean, I'm going to be asking all the stupid questions, so I'm sure that he'll.
There we go.
Comes on.
It's got its light. It's upgraded its light as well.
Ta-da!
I love the Taurus. The musical train.
I can't hear it, but is that the Do Re Fa So?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant! Oh, I wish I could hear it, but.
Well, the other option is, Liam, that we can do a video effectively. I mean, I can have a video call with the track layer, and then we can cut and paste the bits together and create a video. There's a bit more work in that, but it's certainly another way we can approach that. Because I don't somehow think anyone's going to be able to teach me track laying to any degree of quality, so which is on me, not on them.
Yeah.
Oh, Talent 2 has sneaked in up here. Let's just wander down. 612 has sneaked in down here.
And Joe's just confirmed in the chat, this happens at more than just 1040, so have fun finding those. Oh, we love a little Easter egg. We love a little bit of exploration. Anything else you wanted to show tonight, Matt?
I think we pretty much covered it, we've done some of the stuff we did last time. We've answered some of the questions we've had on there. So I think we've shown everything we need to show.
Lovely, and this could be the key art, to be honest with you, but it's not. So I think we'll leave it there for tonight, everybody. Matt, can you put us back on Facecam, please?
Yeah.
Before we sign off.
There you go.
Wonderful. I bet you've missed our wonderful faces over the course of the last couple of hours. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. We've been really enjoying your feedback so far on the route. It looks like, for the most part, people are enjoying it. I appreciate people on PS5 who tried to download earlier on in the day, not having quite as much fun. We are working with Sony on that and trying to make sure that we can solve that for you as soon as possible. Realistically, not sure it's going to happen tonight, but we'll get back to it in the morning, and we'll try and make sure that we, as I say, I think that the ball is currently in Sony's court to try and see if they can provide us with a solution that we'll be able to work through with you guys. But it's available now. If you download it, it's available on all of the different platforms. I believe there is a discount currently on PlayStation as well until the 20th, so that's a week. Other than that, I think if you come in halfway through, it'd be a good idea to watch the stream from the start. There's a lot of information in there. And if you want a bit of help or a bit of advice on how to get the loco started, or a little bit about GNT, we've timestamped a few parts of the last week's video that you might find useful as well. It's just on our channel, and all you need to do is click on the description, and the timestamps are there. So I think all that's left for me to say is thank you very much, Matt. Cheers for joining us tonight.
Thank you. No, it's been good fun. You know me, I like to sit here and play the game.
Wonderful, as a good exec producer should do. And I've been JD. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Hope you have a lovely evening, and we will be back next week with Railfan TV. See you later.
Cheers, everyone.